Hello and good afternoon friends, welcome once again to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, as you know that in our previous session we talked about the Saris of India. We would be continuing that particular lecture today also. We talked about the Saris of the Eastern region, so we would be discussing further on the Saris of the Eastern region, as well as the lecture moves forward we would be discussing Northern India's saris also, the saris of Indian region. And for this, we have again with us in our studios Dr. Nilima Asthana. Dr. Asthana is Assistant Professor in Department of Education, Lady Irwin College, University of Delhi. So dear friends, taking advantages from her experiences, let's try to understand about the various saris of the Eastern region and then the saris of the Northern India. So welcome to the EduSet lecture, ma'am. And this lecture seems to be very fascinating in the previous session also, and I hope that today also, because the saris are what loved by the women as well as males also, because when it is a matter of gifting somebody a beautiful sari, then it appears to our mind, and as well as this lecture is going to be productive for the students also. So taking the lecture forward, I would like to hand it over this entire lecture to the Dr. Nilima Asthana.
Thanks a lot, Geetika, and good morning friends. In continuation of my previous lecture that was on saris of India, actually I started with woven saris of India, but while preparing the lecture I found so many interesting facts, so I thought I should share with you the various other facts also. And for that I will, in my last lecture I told you about the saris in general and the saris which are specific for in Western region. And then I started with Eastern region, and I was thinking that I will be able to finish in my previous lecture also, but there is so many other things which are there in Eastern region, and I have included northeastern part of India in Eastern region as well. So I will start with my presentation on saris of India, specifically saris from East India. I will start with this, and as you all know, I discussed with you regarding the weaving pattern and some specific saris of Eastern region. So as you know that it is weaving techniques are different in Eastern region. Several types of figures and inlaid works were created through supplementary warp and discontinuous supplementary weft weaving, interlocked weft weaving in sari borders, and twill as well as plain weaves are used in these saris. And many traditional saris display simple palettes based on natural colors of the fibers used. While silks were rarely dyed and unbleached, undyed cottons were preferred in those regions. I talked about Bengali Deshi muslin, very fine cotton saris, and the muslin cloth is, as you all know, it is very fine soft fabric, and which gives the sari a very royal look, and so many booties give the sari very rich look. Then next I discussed with you Tingail sari, or in Hindi we call it Tat, and it is again a very fine cotton, very comfortable to wear, and with the help of different types of weaving, very good appearance or very good color and finishes are given to these saris. And I discussed about Garot sari also. The significance of Garot sari is it is not dyed at all. We use the basic fabric, maybe yellow or very pale yellow kind of color, and on that weaving is done. We also talked about Dhaka muslin sari, which is the finest muslin sari, and it comes in silk also, and it used to be very costly. Then again Jamdani muslins, which are the specific, which is the which is Dhaka is famous for Jamdani muslins, but now in India also Jamdani saris are being made, and these saris are decorated with floral motif woven in discontinuous supplementary weft cotton or occasionally silk or synthetic fiber, providing an opaque patterning against a transparent background. There are certain categories of Jamdani saris. It may be natural colored unbleached cotton, grounds with bleached cotton supplementary work, may be pastel colored grounds with white supplementary work, dark colored grounds with white supplementary threads, any of the above with colored threads, any of the above combinations with zari supplementary threads as part of the mix, and dark grounds with only supplementary zari work, and these all combinations give a very rich look to these Jamdani saris, and we can have variety also, natural background colored threads, colored background white threads, or colored dark backgrounds white threads, or use of zari. Everything make the sari very elegant. The next traditional sari of eastern region is Baluchari silk sari. Baluchari silk sari is very prominent and traditional sari of this region, and Bengal artisans are adept in creating traditional Baluchari silk saris that are hugely popular and sought after among the women of the entire community, entire country even. And you will find variety of motifs in these Baluchari silk saris, and these are the specific characteristics of these silk sari. Baluchari is also, work is also done on cotton saris. Then what is Baluchari sari work? This flourishing trend later declined later on, specifically during British rule due to political and financial reasons, and it became a dying craft as most of the weavers were compelled to give up the profession. Later in the first half of 20th century, Subho Thakur, a famous artist, felt the need of recultivating the rich tradition of Baluchari craft. Though Bishnupur was always famous for its silk, he invited Akshay Kumar Das, a master weaver of Bishnupur, to his center to learn the technique of jacquard weaving. Shri Das then went back to Bishnupur and worked hard to weave Baluchari on their looms. Baluchari came much after muslin. 200 years ago, Baluchari was used to be practiced in a small village called Baluchar in Murshidabad district in West Bengal, from where it got the name Baluchari. In the 18th century, Murshid Quli Khan, Nawab of Bengal, patronized its rich weaving tradition and brought the craft of making this sari from Dhaka to the Baluchar village in Murshidabad and encouraged the industry to flourish. A very serious flood came in Ganga river, and the subsequent submerging of the village, the industry moved to Bishnupur village in Bankura district, and since then the Bishnupur is famous for Baluchari saris. It is today often have depiction from scenes of Mahabharata and Ramayana. During the Mughal and British eras, they had a square design in the pallu, depicted scenes from the lives of the Nawab of Bengal, featuring women smoking hookahs, Nawabs driving horse carriage, and even European officers of East India Company. So, Baluchari in a way modified during Mughal and British periods. Instead of motifs from Ramayana, scenes of Ramayana and Mahabharata, the scenes from the Mughal period and British period were reflected in Baluchari saris. It would take two craftsmen to work for almost a week to produce one sari. The main material used is silk, and the sari is polished after weaving. But it is not only silk, these days it is done on cotton saris also. You can see the Baluchari sari having scene of British rulers. The ruler is in hat, and the queen is also there, they are on a chariot. So, during British period these kind of scenes were there on Baluchari sari. During British period you can see the king, horses are there, palki is there, and these kind of scenes were there on Baluchari saris at that period. While there is not a lot of variation in the method of weaving used today, Balucharis can be broadly categorized based on the threads used in weaving the patterns. So, threads or zari, anything could be used, but mostly Baluchari is done using cotton thread. Baluchari, the most common Balucharis have threads in 1 or 2 colors to weave the entire pattern. The Baluchari Meenakari sari, sometimes Balucharis have threads in 1 to 2 colors along with attractive Meenakari work in another color that further brightens the pattern. So, along with the threads, Meenakari is also found in Baluchari saris. Then another type of Baluchari is known as Swarnachari, that is Baluchari in gold. The most gorgeous Balucharis are woven with gold colored threads, sometimes interspersed with a bit of silver that illuminate the patterns to a much larger extent. It is a very unique Baluchari sari, the pattern and design showing the scenes of Mahabharat or some religious scene is there. Again this is a Baluchari sari, use of silk thread, silver threads are also there. This is also Baluchari, very rich pallu depicting the scene of religious scene is there. So, West Bengal saris now show a greater range of colors than past. Nowadays you can find bright yellow, green, red, blue etc. as well as zari is commonly found. In the past the saris were usually on off-white background or grey and neutral colors were majorly used in the past, but these days all the colorful saris could be seen in eastern region and that is in the West Bengal. Along with Baluchari sari, few saris are very famous in Bihar as the tussar silk is widely produced in Bihar and cultivated also. So, different types of tussar silk saris are available from and produced in Bihar. Bihar produces about 66% of India's tussar silk. Much of it is woven in Bengal and Odisha, though it produces a lot of silk, but the sari weavers mainly are there in Bengal and Odisha, but otherwise also Bihar and in Jharkhand, very good quality of saris are being produced. So, two types of tussar saris are woven today. First is plain tussar sari and second is it is mixed with cotton. They may or may not have border, may have simple either no border at all or just a simple stripe created from dyed warp threads. Quality is judged by quality of its threads or fineness of weave. The major thing which is seen in the Bihar and Jharkhand's tussar sari is they do not apply a very decorative weaving patterns on pallu or border. Usually the tussar saris are plain in this region and the printing is done, maybe block printing or simple printing, and sometimes we can find a very thin border on these saris also. But with the change in the fashion and to make it more competitive, more attractive saris are being produced these days in Bihar, and in the Madhubani area we can find the Madhubani painting on the saris, and those saris are really very costly. So, these are the photographs of tussar sari. You can see that the border is there, the pallu is not very heavy. I request you to show the photograph also of tussar sari of Bihar. Next, the very famous eastern region is Assam in the field of sari making. I can show you the Bihar's tussar sari. Yeah, these are the simple tussar sari of Bihar, having very having border and very different types of pallu, and this gives a very good and rich look to the sari. In Assam, there are 4 natural fibers which are indigenous, and these are cotton, munga, tussar and eri silk. Munga, tussar and eri are the variety of silk, and of these 3, wild silk, eri is too heavy to be made into sari and usually woven into chaddar, but all 4 give natural color of off-white and shades of pale brown. Saris are not indigenous garment and most likely being introduced by Bengalis. So, Assam produces a large variety of silk, but sari is the major garment of Bengal, and the influence of Bengal could be seen in these regions. Munga silk sari of Assam is very famous. Munga silk is known for its glossy, fine texture and durability. It was previously reported that Munga silk cannot be dyed or bleached due to low porosity, but this is incorrect. With the advancement in the technology, Munga silk also could be dyed, and it takes dye like any other silk. This silk can be hand washed with its luster increasing after every wash, and this is a very important quality of Munga silk, because otherwise always we try to protect our sari, save our sari, and we always go for dry cleaning, and that dry cleaning is too costly. But these Munga silk sari could be washed, and with every wash the luster is increased, the strength is increased of these saris. Very often the silk outlives its owner, woven with great deal of intricate supplementary thread work, and that supplementary thread work is done with silk, cotton or zari. This is the Munga silk sari. You can see the richness of the pallu as well as the body of the sari, and there could be a lot many designs which could be created on Munga silk. Again, a few examples of Munga silk saris. You can see the border in one sari and the pallu on the other sari, and rich colors like red, green are have been used on the natural background. So, they traditionally weave textiles for personal and family use, and there is no history of caste specialization in the area of, in the region of Assam. Backstrap and simple framed looms are most often used for home production. The patterning falls into 2 types, tribal and mainstream pan-Indian. There is no significant difference between sari woven in cotton, wild silk or even mulberry silk. So, basically the people in Assam used to weave textiles for their own personal use, and with the influence of fashion and demand, they have started producing it on the large scale, and usually they use backstrap and simple framed looms. There are 2 types of patterning, tribal and mainstream pan-Indian, and the tribal patterning are very much in demand. People like to wear those sarees which are having tribal impressions. So, pan Indian is always there. To give to sell it properly, we need pan Indian look, but tribal look is also very much in demand when we talk about the marketing of these sarees. I will now discuss tribal designs of Assam, Meghalaya and Tripura, because these regions are, there is no distinct variation. So, I am discussing all these three regions together. These all states are ethnically distinct. Assam often supplies high-end textiles. Tribal designs tend to be abstract and geometric with depiction of natural objects. Natural objects are geometrical in shape, sometimes flowers, leaves and animals in highly stylized form. The supplementary threads most commonly used are red, black, purple, white, yellow, green, and these days turquoise is also being used. You can see the small picture which I have put at the bottom, the triangular design and very much geometrical in nature. Most textile designs were once tribe specific, but constant social intermingling and trade, mill woven fabrics and an undiscriminating foreign custom of tribal textiles have caused many distinctions to disappear. Sometimes people do not get support from the government, do not get support from the people, and due to the pressure from the outside world, they are forced to produce pan Indian kind of designs, and in this manner we are losing these kind of tribal distinctions. And there are major influence of groups known as Bodos and Shah Ahoms, and they are there in the Brahmaputra Valley. So, the impression of these two groups is very much prevalent and dominating in the sarees. Bodos of those area contributed densely woven diamond shapes and lozenges to the Assamese textile repertoire, as well as range of animal and flora forms including a fish motif. Many Bodo designs are small and repetitive, such as pigeon eyes, known they called as Pereomegon. Others are large, like the hill design Pahad Agat, where each rounded triangle represent a hill. A motif depicting birds and or flowers on either side of a tree is very common, called as sun tree design. So, there are very much natural designs on the sari, like pahad of that region, the things which are prevalent in that region, fish, pahad, tree, birds, flowers, etc. You can see a few saris of that area, how rich they are in color as well as in design. They are also developing mainstream Indian designs, which can be recognized by both the subject matter and by their flowing lines and curves. Mughal derived Kalga is the most obvious introduction in terms of subject. When we talk about subject, so we can find Kalga, which was derived due to Mughals, is the most obvious introduction. Therefore, not all designs are angular. Round petaled booty and life-like depictions of animals and plants are common. Only area where rhinoceros are woven into saris as decorative motif. This is the only area where you will find saris having rhinoceros woven on it. Zari has also been introduced in expensive silk saris. You can see rhinoceros on the sari. It may be on pallu, it may be on border. So, you can see the birds, rhinoceros and deer on the sari, all the animals, birds which are found in that area. This is the triangular motif, the pahad, the depiction of hill, etc. and shape of plant, as I discussed earlier, flower. It is woven in the pallu as well as in the border. Next important area of eastern region is Manipur. As most of the population live in valley of Manipur, it home to about 7 different tribes that merged over time to form the clan of Meitei community. They have a literary and cultural tradition incorporating both Tibeto-Bhutan and Bengali Indian elements. As Manipur is a bordering region, so the influence of Tibet-Bhutan is also there, as well as Bengali Indian elements are also found in the textile in that region. And there are 7 different tribes of that area which come together to form the clan called Meitei community, and this community always dominates the region. As in Assam, saris were only traditionally worn by women of Indian descent and in Indianized upper class. Here also the ladies who are from this origin used to wear sari. Local women usually wear a densely woven warp stripped fanek, a shawl inafi, a tailored top and sometimes a scarf tied around the waist. Detailed interlocked weft weaving is still found in Manipur's most famous traditional sari, Moirang Phi. And it is very strange to say that pictures, I hardly found any picture of this particular sari, though I tried my best and I will show you one. It contains interlocked weft woven triangular temple motifs in single or multiple rows along the inner edge of narrow border, and it is produced both in cotton and muslin. You can see a sari, temple border, and you can see the fabric is so fine. It may be cotton or muslin, and the design is woven, very intricately woven design of flower, leaves, booties are also there, and you can see the color combination, how attractive is the color combination. You can see the lady wearing all the different parts of the dress which I talked in my presentation in the early slides, and again there are two very interesting things which are found. They used to wear a dress known as mekhla. It is divided in two parts. Half is for the lower portion of the body and half for the to be used as pallu. So, this is a sample of mekhla sari. It is known as mekhla sari. It is in black. Otherwise, usually it comes in red color. Now, I will come to the next eastern region, which is also very much important in terms of sari. Maximum ladies in that region used to wear sari, and Sambhalpuri sari is so very much popular from Odisha and so very costly. Whether in silk or whether in cotton, the Sambhalpuri sari from Odisha is very costly sari. It is a traditional hand woven ikat or sari, locally called as shadhi. The warp and the weft are tie and dyed before weaving. I think you must be remembering the sari which I discussed with you, which is produced in the Patan area of Gujarat, and those saris are also produced by tie and dyeing the warp and weft yarns, and those are known as Patan Patola and those sarees are also very costly. So, these sarees are produced in the Bargarh, Sonepur, Sambalpur, Balangir district, both district of Odisha. Sambalpuri sarees are known for their incorporation of traditional motifs such as shankh, shell, chakra wheel, phool flower, all of which have deep symbolism, but the high point of these sarees is the traditional craftsmanship of the bandhkala, the tie and dye art reflected in their intricate weaves, also known as Sambalpuri Ikkat sari. So, if you see the shell, chakra and phool, all these three objects or articles are very much important in a Hindu culture, you can say, because we use these three in our tradition and religious functions. And the major attraction of these sarees is the tie and dye art that is reflected in their weaving. The entire process taking many weeks, and to produce one saree it takes a long time. You can see the beauty of this Sambalpuri saree. You can see so many colors have been used, and a very interesting design has been created by using different colors, and different parts of the same pallu is having different designs. Again a Sambalpuri saree, you can see in all the saree you will see a circular design, circular motif, and how intricate is the border, and everything is woven, nothing is printed, whether it is the border or pallu or the main body of the saree. Again this saree you can see the richness of the pallu. And the most interesting part is the how they tie and dye the warp and weft yarn, and how they weave those yarns to give a very unique kind of final design on the saree. Fabric and design of Sambalpuri fabrics are reflected an original fabrics reflect an original style of craft known as bandha. Bandha means tying and dyeing. Traditionally, craftsmen created bandhas with images of flora or fauna or with geometrical patterns. Recently, new types of bandha depicting portrait, landscape and flower pots are being designed. The unique feature of this form of designing is that the designs are reflected almost identically on both sides of the fabric. So, you cannot identify or make it out very easily which is the wrong side of the saree or fabric. Once the fabric is dyed, it can never be bleached in the other color to other color. This versatile technique enables a craftsman to weave colorful designs, patterns and images into a fabric capable of inspiring a thought or conveying a message. So, with the use of different motifs or designs like natural designs like hills or animals or birds or depiction from the nature is very unique in Sambalpuri sarees. So, to summarize the eastern saree, there are I can give you the name, though I have not discussed each and every saree with you, where there are Tingail Tant saree from Bangladesh. I am discussing Bangladesh here because it is a neighboring country and the tradition, customs and culture always exported and imported. So, in terms of tradition, saree etc., whatever is produced in Bangladesh is always used in India, and in India always artisans try to reproduce those kind of fabrics. So, Tangail Tant sari of Bangladesh, Jamdani of Bangladesh, Muslin Bangladesh, Rajshahi silk of Bangladesh, Dhakai Katan of Bangladesh, jute cotton of Bangladesh, Khadi sari of Komila Bangladesh. These all saris are very widely used in India, not only in West Bengal, but in other parts of India, and people love to, especially the ladies love to wear these saris in India, because these saris are very much light in weight and very comfortable to wear. Another saris are Dhanai Khai cotton of West Bengal, Shantipuri cotton of Shantipur, West Bengal, Fulia cotton of Fulia, West Bengal, Begumpur cotton of Begumpur, West Bengal, Garat sari or Korial from Murshidabad, West Bengal, Tant sari, Farshganj, West Bengal, Murshidabad silk of West Bengal, Baluchari silk of Bishnupur, Bankura, West Bengal, Kantha silk and cotton saris of West Bengal and Bangladesh, Batik sari of West Bengal and Bangladesh, Sambalpuri silk and cotton sari from Sambalpuri, Odisha, Ikkat silk and cotton sari, Badkar, Odisha, Bomkai silk and cotton sari from Bomkai, Ganjam, Odisha, Khandua silk and cotton sari, Nuapatna, Cuttack, Odisha, Sonpuri silk and cotton sari, Subarnapur, Odisha, Behrampuri silk, Behrampur, Odisha, Matha silk sari, Mayurbhanj, Odisha, Bapta silk and cotton sari, Koraput, Odisha, Tanta cotton sari, Balasore, Odisha, Manipuri Tant sari of Manipur. So, these are the various saris of eastern region, and you would have noticed that I have discussed very few saris with you. The major beauty of these saris are they are made up of natural fibers, natural scenes are depicted, and the local tradition of that particular region is being maintained on these saris. They are very well depicted on these saris. So, cotton and silk both are comfortable fibers, but both are natural fibers, and the work is also not very easy. So, these saris are used to be costly, but at the same time very attractive. Now, I will discuss the saris from North India. Actually, North India, when we talk about North India, the major region which comes in our mind is Banaras. Though sometimes people take Banaras also to eastern side of India, but I am discussing Banaras in North India in this presentation. Banarsi saris are very famous, and Banaras is one of the most important center in India in the field of production of saris, and most important region for sari weavers. Otherwise also from North India there is chikankari in Lucknow. Chikankari actually a work which is being done for saris, for suits, for dupattas. So, not very much specific in terms of northern sari. So, I am taking mainly the Banarsi sari in this presentation, and Banaras brocade is very famous. It is virtually mandatory in the bride's gift. Everyone gives in India a Banarsi sari, 1 or 2 or 3 or so many to their bride daughter. Very tremendously, as weavers create different products to suit different regional markets and changing fashion. The main attraction of Banarsi brocade is the weavers try their level best to produce the saris which should be in demand due to fashion, prevailing fashion. So, they create so many different kinds of brocade according to the demand of the people. Banarsi brocade is very much in demand for ladies suits, upholstery material, then to use otherwise also. So, they create very good rich brocade, and Banarsi brocade is very famous. Most brocades usually have a strong Mughal influence in the design, such as intricate intertwining floral and foliate motifs, kalka and bail. You can see in this picture also effect of Mughals on the design. You can see in the border also the design like that. A characteristic found along the inner and sometimes outer edge of the border is a narrow fringe like pattern that often looks like a string of upright leaves called chalar. This is a signature of Banarsi brocade. Banarsi brocade has, you can see the classification of Banarsi brocade. It has been divided into three major categories. First is zari brocade, patterning is in zari. Amru brocade, patterning is in silk and not in zari. Ambravans, in this ground material is a transparent muslin silk or organza. Then zari brocade is again divided into two, kinkap. Here in kinkap more zari than underlying silk visible, bafta more silk than underlying zari visible. Ambravans is also divided into two, cutwork brocade, patterning a heavier on surface than ground, and tarbana a fine silk warp with a sari weft giving an almost metallic sheen to the sari. So, this is the classification of Banarsi brocade. Though it is the major classification, you can find so many different types of Banarsi brocade in the market, because according to the fashion, according to the industrial or development in the through technology, there are different kinds of brocade, but major these kind of classifications types of brocades we see in the market. So, first is opaque zari brocade. Two groups based on amount of zari, and that is supplementary weft yarn. Kinkaps are heavy gilt brocades with considerably more zari than underlying silk, commonly worn as wedding sari. You can see the zari work and the brocade due to zari work. It gives a very rich look due to the heavy gilt brocade, that is heavy zari work. Then Amru brocade, you can find the sobriety of the sari, and this sari is simpler than the kinkap. The supplementary weft patterning of these brocades is woven in silk and not in zari. The threads may either be untwisted, giving a thick line to the woven design, or they may be twisted yarns that produce a finer, denser pattern. So, this is the sari, it is the Amru brocade sari. Here you will find more silk than zari, and this sari could be worn at not only in marriages, otherwise also, because these are not, the Amru brocades do not give a very heavy look to the sari. Next very important work in Banarsi sari is Tanchoi, and very famous. It is the distinctive type of Amru brocade, is figured silk that is technically related to complex weaves like the lampas, because it has 1 or 2 warp and 2 to 5 weft colors, often in the same shade. So, 2 warp and 2 to 5 weft colors in the same shade, then you can imagine yourself that how rich the sari would be. A densely patterned heavy fabric is created that has no floats on the reverse. The unused threads are woven into the foundation of the bag, and it gives a very clean look at the bag, and it gives a very solid support to the base of the sari. Traditionally, Tanchoi fabric has a satin weave ground warp threads with small pattern made by the weft threads repeated over the entire surface. This is a example of Tanchoi sari. Next is abravans, either a zari brocade or amru, but the ground fabric is always a transparent silk or silk muslin or organza with fine colored silk and or zari supplementary thread patterning. So, it may be either zari brocade or amru brocade, but the ground fabric is always a very fine transparent silk or organza or muslin. Volume of patterning throughout the fabric may vary from barely noticeable additions to extensive supplementary work covering the entire textile. Sometimes supplementary thread patterning through their contrasting colors are as fine as the ground fabric, resulting in transparent cloth that at first glance looks lightly printed rather than woven, and these types of fine sarees are very costly due to the work of weaving. This is an example of abravans. You can see the boldness of the weaving as well as the fineness of the weaving in the saree. You can see the Banarsi loom and how complicated is the loom, saree loom, and it is necessary to create good brocade saree, whether silk or zari. Other sarees which are also woven in Banaras or Uttar Pradesh are tissue sarees, usually woven with the finest silk thread, are very popular. Jamawars also come from Uttar Pradesh. These silk sarees are embellished with zari thread work. The popular theme is a jacquard weave in meena color like orange and green. So, two meena colors are very prominent in Jamawar sarees, and these are orange and green. Another type is the Kora silk saree, which is starched as brittle as organza. See the Jamawar saree, the intricate work. Jamawar, it is a kind of jal of the zari on the surface. Again a Jamawar saree. Kora silk saree, see the fineness of the Kora silk saree. The work of booty on the saree, very intricate and very fine. Again the Kora silk saree, along with the neutral or neutral shade, a very well designed border is given to this saree to make it attractive and different, and you can see the design on the border, floral design throughout the border, and the body of the saree is also woven. Along with these woven saree, there are the Uttar Pradesh and especially the Banaras is famous for embroidered tinsel sarees. The western region also has a rich embroidered tradition made famous by ethnic groups such as Rabaris and Sodha Rajput. So, embroidered sarees are famous both in western and eastern region as well as in northern region. We cannot say in eastern region, but in north and west the embroidered sarees are very famous. The saree with Zardozi, the gold gilt thread embroidery technique, at one time patronized by the Mughal emperors and the aristocracy, is today an inextricable part of a bridal trousseau. Balla tinsel and khadi work are the cheaper variations available in metallic embroidery, which have also become quite popular these days. You can see Zardozi work on sari. It is too heavy and too costly. Again, 2 examples of the Zardozi work. So, in north there are Banarsi, Shalu and Tanchoi sari, and the center is mainly Banaras and the adjoining area. I will just give you an idea about the saris from South India. There are actually South India is also divided according to the region, but the entire South India, the ladies prefer to wear sari, and there is rich tradition of making very heavy zari saris in South India, and each region of South is famous for their own silk and zari work. It covers tropical lands of Karnataka, southern Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And you all would have heard about the specific saris of these area. South is one of the major sari weaving regions, producing considerable quantities of rural, peasant and urban middle class sari in silk, cotton, rayon and polyester. As I told you that maximum ladies in South India prefer to wear sari, and accordingly there is vast range of in terms of cost of different saris. These may be as cheap as 100 rupees a sari, as costly as more than a lakh of a sari. So, it depends. So, they use different fibers, they use silk, they use cotton, they use mix of silk and cotton, rayon and polyester, and 90% of mulberry silk of India produced here. And major regions of sericulture in south are Bangalore, Kolar, Tumkur, Mysore and Madhya. Most of the silk is mechanically reeled in this region. Traditionally, 2 types of saris are available, wide border of contrasting color to field, narrow border created through supplementary warp patterning, often less than an inch, created through supplementary warp patterning. In both the styles, the border extends the full warp length of the sari and forms part of end piece.
I think, ma'am, because we have a very less time left over here, as we discussed about the various forms of saris, and we would be discussing in our future sessions also more about saris. As I already said that saris appears to be very fascinating to everybody, all those who wear as well as all those who gift or all those who admire them when it is worn by somebody, some women. Ma'am, as we have seen, there is a difference in the saris if we talk about the different regions of the India itself. As if we see in the northern region itself, northern region is somewhere it is the combination of every kind of sari. We find every kind of sari.
Yes. Because northern region is always influenced by the people who migrate from their own state to northern area, especially in Delhi and UP and Punjab. Actually, Punjab is not a very, we should not take the example because people do not wear much sari in that area, but in north area you can find people love to wear saris of different regions.
And sometimes we have also seen that the number of trade fairs and number of exhibitions which take place in, if we talk about our Delhi region also, we used to see lots of saris and it fascinates people. Why not to
and
take
these days also you will find exhibitions in Pragati Maidan or Delhi Haat or in emporiums. So, people get a chance to visit those places and come to know about the saris of different region, which otherwise in smaller towns people do not get advantage of these facilities.
And there is also a charm of wearing something ethnic. People think that they should wear something different from their customs and traditions, and I feel that there is a very we could say that migration or the transfer of the cultural ideologies when we wear sarees of the different regions. So, is there any ideology behind wearing the saree in the different forms?
Different forms in terms of style of wearing?
Style of wearing.
Actually, it depends. In Bengal, you will find a different way of wearing the sari. In northeastern region, they used to wear mekhla sari, where they have two parts of a sari. In south, they are using a different kind of wearing, like the saris are too long for them, and they just as men used to wear dhoti, they used to wear sari in that region. So it depends. In Maharashtra, it is again a different type. In Gujarat, you can see Sida Pallu sari. So it depends on their own traditions, and people still love to maintain their tradition. So they used to wear sari in their own way.
Definitely, everybody has their own style of wearing the saris. As recently I came across, I asked the concerned person, the shopkeeper. He said, "This is a long sari." I said, "Why this is a long sari?" He said, "Because this sari is typically worn in the style of Maharashtra, and Maharashtrian used to carry a long sari because their style of draping is different." There was another concern of mine when I asked the shopkeeper. There was a Coimbatore silk, and he was placing that Coimbatore silk in a very different way. It was all kept, yes, it was all draped in a different way. So when I asked why it is kept in a different way while the other saris are placed in the way they are kept, so he said all because of the work done, because of all the golden color, the thread which was used. So is there any
actually sometimes they roll the sari over a rod, because to just to avoid the crease, because on the crease the sari may get weak. So to give the strength to the fabric, they roll in that manner. Sometimes they try to protect the design on the sari by keeping or folding the sari in a particular manner. And you can see the Kanjivaram silks, they are being folded in the very different kind. Though the Kanjivaram silk is used to be very heavy and good quality silk, but they used to have a very different kind of folding technique for Kanjivaram sarees.
Maybe because of the thread which is used.
And sometimes they use the gold thread also. Sometimes the silver thread dipped in gold, and they use those threads to in the form of zari. So in that
it is easy to buy heavy and beautiful sarees, but I think it is very difficult to maintain those sarees.
But I came to know that in Bangalore, they used to have a competition, the best protected sari and the oldest sari. So people have love for their saris, and they try to maintain and keep the sari very in a good condition.
In a good condition. This is a very good fact what Dr. Nilima Asthana has given us. You could also bring a revolution in yourself. You can also keep your saris well draped and well placed, so that they may not destroy, and you can keep for traditions. Your family tradition could be saved by keeping those saris. With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for delivering such a nice lecture, and I hope that all the students who might have watched us would be benefited from this particular lecture. If you have any queries, you can mail us at info.cec@nic.in, so that the next time when Dr. Nilima Asthana comes to our lecture, we would love to solve your queries with the help of your mails. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much.